Hello and welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we are going to talk something about lambdas. Now in general terms, lambdas are similar to that of a function, so basically you will have some code in lambdas, but the thing is that as opposed to functions, you don't have to name your lambdas. So if you find this a little bit confusing, let's directly jump into lambdas and take a simple example so as to understand what lambdas are. So let's say you want to actually write in some code which is actually going to calculate the square of a particular number. So what you could do is that you could write in a function like def square. You could actually pass in a number or a variable x of which you have to calculate the square of, and you could simply type in return x multiplied by that is nothing but the multiplication sign twice. So what this is going to do is that it is going to take up a number x, it is going to calculate the square value of that number, and it is going to return the value to you. And once you have this, what you could do is that you could simply print out the value. So you essentially use a square here. So you type in square, and let's say you want to find out square for 4. So this code will essentially give you out the result as 16, as it is going to calculate the square. So this is how a normal function works. Now let's try to understand what lambdas are by performing the exact same operation, but this time instead of writing everything in terms of functions, let's go ahead and do that by using lambdas. So whenever you want to create lambdas, what you need to do is that you simply need to type in lambda. Then after writing lambda, you actually need to define a variable. So in this case, as we are working with x, we type in x, then simply give a colon and then define a mathematical expression. So in this case, as we are actually finding out a square of a particular number, so the expression is going to be x star star 2. And that's it. So you don't need to actually write anything apart from that while you're actually using lambdas. And what you could do is that you could simply have a variable which is called as result, and you could save the result of this lambda expression into the variable which is called as result. So once you have this lambda, the next thing which you need to do is that you need to make sure that you enclose this lambda into a bracket, and in the other brackets or in other parentheses, you simply need to pass in the value which you want to pass to this lambda right here. So in this case, let's say you want to pass in a value like 30. Let's say you want to calculate the square of the number 30. So that result is going to be stored in this result variable right here. So the only thing which you need to do now is that you need to print out the value of the final result. So simply pass in result over here, save the code, and if you run it, as you could see, you will get the value as 900, which is nothing but square of 30. So that's how you could perform the same operation by using lambdas instead of using an actual function. So the only thing which you need to do is that you need to use the keyword lambda, then define the actual variable, and then use a colon, and then after the colon you need to specify the mathematical expression which you want to use for that particular case. So in this case, as we wanted to have the square of a particular number, we had this mathematical expression right here, and then you simply need to pass in a particular value to that lambda, and that is essentially going to give you a particular result. Now one more thing which you could do is that you could completely eliminate the use of a variable in case of lambdas. So if you simply delete it, and if you actually cut this code, and if you paste this code right over here, and if you save the code and if you run it, as you could see, even then you are going to get your result. So this is the best part about lambdas. So you need to remember a few things about lambdas, like lambdas are also called as anonymous functions because they are functions with no names, and lambdas do not include a return statement. So as you could see that this function right here actually has a return statement, but in case of lambdas you don't have any return statement right here. The reason why it does not have a return statement is because it always contains an expression which is returned. So instead of having to have a return statement, it automatically returns the expression which it has. And also you could put lambdas everywhere and you don't need to assign it to a particular variable. So as you could see, previously we have assigned a lambda to a variable, but as you could see this time, now we have not assigned lambda to any of the variable and still we got our result. So that's it for this lecture, and I hope you guys understood what are lambdas and how to actually use them. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.